stitch down past the break of the angle and about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch past it, and then make sure to back tack at the end of your seam. Okay. So what you're really doing, what you would be doing if you were doing this as a finished item is a sleeve, is sewing the sleeve seam. Okay. So that sews your sleeve seam into place. Does that make sense?
You said to sew it.
Sewing a 1/2 inch seam allowance and 3/4 to 1 inch past the little angle where the placket starts angling away at the 45-degree angle. Okay. All right. Your wide portion of the sleeve is the upper sleeve. Remember, the under sleeve is narrower. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that upper sleeve and you're going to fold its hem allowance back. And how much did we say the hem allowance is? 2 inches back. Then I'm going to fold the placket to the sew line where I'm coming off of the break or the last back tack. So I'm folding the placket back on itself and I'm folding my hem allowance up. You see that? When I have all of that folded in place, and I'll just pull the other side out of the way for the moment. When I have that folded neatly in place, I'm going to take a pin and I am going to poke that through that corner. Okay, so I have it folded and placed. I'm going to poke a pin through the corner. Okay, then when that whole sleeve is flat on a table, I'm going to hold those 2 areas, or I could put some pins in those as well. But my goal is now to reach in and grab the very corner of that whole area, like a handkerchief corner. Grab that corner, flatten all the rest of the allowance, and find the point at which, when pressed, these 2 corners meet each other. So I have the point pinned, I have the hem allowance flat, I have the placket flat, and I am finding the 45-degree angle at which those 2 seam allowances or hem allowances meet. Does that make sense to everyone? When I find that point and I've created that little handkerchief point and it's hanging up here, I am going to, at the surface of the fabric with my scissors, snip little notches right there. Okay, so I'm going to just snip little notches right where those 2 points meet at that intersection. Now I'm going to walk away from that spot. I'm going to take my pin, which is through, and I'm going to push it front to back. So I'm going to push my pin through front to back with the surface of all of this flat. Then I'm going to take my wool and I'm going to turn it so that right side of the wool is to the right side of the wool. You see where my pin is coming out right here, see? You see that? I'm matching my 2 little cut notches. I'm matching where the pin is. I'm looking at that going, oh yeah, that's that handkerchief fold I just made. I'm going to insert the notch end underneath my needle. I'm going to push the ball head of the pin out so I don't run over it, but I'm going to leave the rest of the pin in. And I want to target a straight line between those cut notches and the point of the pin where it comes out of the fabric. Does that make sense? Straight line. So I'm going to start stitching. I'm going to back tack a little at the top, stitch a straight line coming off where the pin comes out, back tack there. See where the pin is coming out, see my straight line, see where it started, see where it stopped. Pin is still coming out right here. I'm going to take that piece my fabric. I'm going to turn it right side out before I do anything else, pushing the pin through. I'm going to check it on this side to see, does it look like a good mitered corner? If it looks good, even though it's super bulky, right now it's super bulky, if it looks good and flat, I'm going to turn it back inside out, pull the pin out. Oh, you didn't tell me I had a random thread hanging there. Okay. I'm going to cut this seam allowance to 1/4 of an inch seam allowance off the edge of that seam, 1/4 inch seam allowance. I am going to cut the triangle out of the end, near the seam, but not through the seam, remember. I don't want a hole, okay? I'm going to take this to the ironing board where I have a point presser, which is a wood block with a point on it. I'm going to insert the point presser in here. I'm going to push this seam and bust this little bitty seam open. So I'm going to go bust this little seam open. Okay? Alicia, do you want to do that for me real quick a minute? It should be warm, and I think I moved the point presser right over.